Discover the incredible truth. 7 life-changing lessons from life at sea in medieval times exposed. The rain hammered against the roof of Sarah's grandmother's old house, drowning out the usual sounds of Cedar Bay. Inside, she felt the weight of her world pressing down on her. As a single mother working at the fish market from dawn till dusk, every day was a fight to provide for her son, Timmy. She often daydreamed about a life brimming with adventure, where laughter filled their small home and love wrapped around them like a cozy blanket. But her dreams felt like fragments from a different world, lost to the grinding reality of bills and responsibilities. As she rummaged through dusty old boxes in the attic, her fingers brushed against something oddly textured beneath the layers of grime, a leather-bound journal. Curiosity sparked, she carefully pulled it free and opened it. The pages creaked, revealing the haunting words of a young sailor from Cedar Bay, its coastal charm woven into tales of courage during medieval times. Each story dripped with raw emotion as the sailor faced storms that mirrored her own battles. He fought against societal norms much like Sarah did, facing the prejudice and disdain of others who deemed her unworthy. Her heart clenched as she read about the bonds he cherished, the intense love he felt for his family, and the passion that propelled him forward. With every turn of the page, the fire in her own chest ignited. If he could challenge the tides, then so could she. This unassuming sailor had become her guiding star, reminding her that resilience was within reach, even on the gloomiest days. But as she continued to read, dread washed over her. The vibrant Cedar Bay she loved was bracing for an incoming storm far worse than rain. Corporate interests had set their sights on her home, threatening to displace families for profit. The thought tightened around her heart like a vice, leaving her breathless. The journal's lessons thrummed in her mind, urging her to act. Before she could think, she knew what she had to do. With a tremor of purpose, Sarah gathered her neighbors at the community center. They were skeptical at first, voices tinged with doubt. Old rivalries resurfaced, sparking whispers that threatened to tear the fabric of their tight-knit town apart. Still, Sarah stood firm, channeling the spirit of that brave sailor. With each story shared, the walls of despair began to crack. They spoke of shared memories, late-night bonfires, and the coastline they all adored. Hope flickered on anxious faces like candlelight amid darkness. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. Just as her spirit surged at the bonds forming, a familiar voice sliced through the air. Sarah? A gasp escaped her lips as she turned to find her estranged mother, a woman she hadn't seen in years, standing in the doorway. Their eyes locked, unspoken words suspended between them. Could they face the tempest together? Would there be room for mending what was so deeply broken? As Sarah gazed into her mother's eyes, she felt the pulse of their shared history, their roots entwined in a town they both cherished. The sailor's voice echoed in her heart. True courage lies not just in the fight itself but in unity, and the willingness to heal. As they stood at the precipice of change, Sarah wondered if they could reclaim the beloved Cedar Bay that felt threatened on all sides, not only from outside forces but from within their fractured family. With uncertainty thickening the air, she pondered what lay ahead and how much she was willing to risk for a brighter future. A heavy silence settled over the community center, stifling the warmth that had begun to envelop Sarah when she saw her mother. At first, Sarah's instinct was to step forward, to close the distance that had grown so vast over the years. Instead, she found herself frozen, grappling with emotions she thought she had buried long ago. Her mother's gaze was weary, gray strands streaking through her once rich hair. Lines etched deep in her forehead told the stories of heartache and regret, and Sarah wondered how many storms her mother had weathered alone. Timmy, oblivious to the tension, pulled at Sarah's hand, still feeling the flicker of hope ignited by their gathering. Sarah, I didn't know where else to go. Her mother's voice trembled, cracking like the old floorboards underfoot. What do you want from me? Sarah managed, the defensiveness spilling out before she had a chance to restrain it. Years of hurt and abandonment bubbled to the surface. She felt exposed, unguarded, like she was standing before a storm without any shelter. "I want to help," her mother replied, her eyes glistening. The community members shuffled, exchanging furtive glances, the heaviness of their own struggles hanging in the air like smoke. Sarah's heart raced. The very idea that her mother could lend a hand seemed both far-fetched and entirely real at that moment. "Help with what? With me? You left." The words came out sharper than she intended. "I was lost. I am sorry. I thought," her mother hesitated, looking for the right words, "I thought it was the only way." The memories crashed in like waves. Sarah as a child, watching her mother walk away, her heart breaking with each step. "They're coming for Cedar Bay," she breathed. "They want to take our homes." She gestured toward the group, desperation edging her voice. "We need to stand together. It's too late to pull apart now." A murmur rippled through the crowd, the familiar echoes of doubt and skepticism playing out again. But deep down, Sarah felt a flicker of unity. "We owe it to ourselves, to our town, to fight for what we love." The crowd fell quiet, absorbing her determination. Some nodded, while others glanced down, battling inner darkness. The walls felt like they were closing in, shared fears binding them together. Just then, a woman from the back raised her hand. "What do we do?" Sarah's heart raced. She turned to her mother, who was nodding in encouragement. Maybe this was the chance for healing, not just for her but for their town too. "All right," Sarah breathed in deeply, her mind racing with ideas. "We organize a meeting. We gather everyone. We share our stories, our fears, everything. Show them that Cedar Bay is worth fighting for." As heads nodded in agreement, Sarah felt a spark of hope ignite within her once more. The storm outside may have been brewing, but perhaps, just perhaps, they could weather this tempest together. "Let us do this as a family," Sarah shouted, a smile breaking through the tension as her heart swelled with determination. And she looked to her mother, unsteady but resolute. Could healing truly begin now? Or was this just another wave crashing down before they could find solid ground? Beyond the halls of the community center, the winds picked up, echoing her thoughts. And in the distance, the sea roared, ready to challenge them all. The air crackled with a mixture of anticipation and uncertainty. Faces once strained by doubt began to shift as the realization sank in that they were not alone. They had each other. The community felt less fractured. Sarah could see the spark of hope mirrored in her mother's eyes, and it brought a warmth she hadn't felt in years. "Okay," Sarah continued, her voice steadying, "let us split into teams. We'll need leaders to approach the town council, social media to spread awareness, and a committee for gatherings. We need everyone on board." Timmy squeezed her hand, his trust in her unwavering. He looked up with wide eyes, full of admiration. It reminded her that they were in this together. She wasn't just fighting for Cedar Bay but for the future of her little family too. A stocky man stepped forward, his brow furrowed. "What if they don't listen? We're just a small town. We can't fight City Hall." "Maybe," she replied, feeling the weight of his words, "but we can certainly try. How many times have we let our voices go unheard? It's time we speak up. They've underestimated us for too long." Encouragement blossomed as Sarah's words began to weave a tapestry of resilience around the room. Murmurs of agreement began to gain volume, the tension easing just a bit more. Her mother placed a hand on Sarah's shoulder, grounding her as all eyes suddenly turned toward the entrance. The doors swung open, and in walked a familiar face, Eric, her childhood friend, a determined glint of recognition in his eyes. "I heard there was a meeting," he said breathlessly, scanning the room. "What's going on?" "Eric!" Sarah exclaimed, her heart leaping at the sight of him. "They want to take our homes. We need to fight." His expression hardened. "I can help. I have contacts in the media. If we get the right story out there." "Yes." Sarah clutched her hands together in excitement. "That's exactly what we need. If we can show the world what it means to live in Cedar Bay, it could change everything." For the first time in years, there was a palpable energy in the room. It felt as if the walls of the community center were echoing stories of determination from families who had poured their hearts and dreams into Cedar Bay. Each person had a history, a heartbeat connected to this place. As Sarah mapped out their battle plan, her mother began speaking louder, sharing how many people were facing the same struggles, not just in Cedar Bay, but across the region. More members of the community joined in, sharing their stories, loss, hope, and dreams. And while the storm outside raged on, inside, a tempest of determination began to brew. There were whispers of organizing protests, rallying support from nearby towns, and sharing their story through social media campaigns. But amidst the excitement, Sarah felt the old doubts creeping back. Would they really be able to pull this off? Could they truly make a difference? Her eyes met her mother's, searching for reassurance. Would she prove to be the mother Sarah had longed for, or would this be just another empty promise? Just then, Timmy tugged at her sleeve, looking up expectantly. "Will we save our home, Mama?" His innocent question pierced through her internal struggle. A lump formed in Sarah's throat. She wanted to say yes, she needed to believe it. But what did saving their home even look like? As the chatter continued, Sarah felt that familiar weight of uncertainty. "Tonight is just the beginning," she whispered to herself, staring at the darkening sky beyond the windows. How much further could they push? What sacrifices would they need to make? With each moment, the stakes felt even higher. As the wind howled outside, Sarah knew they were standing on the precipice of change. But would it lift them up to safety or send them tumbling into chaos? And then it hit her like a wave against the shore, a thought that was both terrifying and exciting. The fight for Cedar Bay had only just begun, and she was ready to dive in head first. But what unforeseen challenges awaited them on this journey? As Sarah looked out at the storm, the weight of her promise settled heavily on her shoulders. She could feel the surge of energy in the room, but it was mixed with a current of fear. How could they stand up to the town council? They had voices, yes, but would those voices be loud enough to reach the ears that mattered? The discussion in the community center grew more intense. People threw out ideas, each more grand than the last. A bake sale to fund their efforts, a concert, even a petition. Sarah could see the wheels turning in their minds. Hope was becoming a tangible force. It felt like a spark igniting a long-dormant flame. As she listened, Eric spoke again, his voice carrying over the din. "We need to create a video. Something heartfelt that tells our story. Let people see Cedar Bay's heart, our faces, our lives. They all want to help." "Yes." A woman chimed in, animatedly. "Everyone loves a good story. We could have everyone share their memories of their homes, what Cedar Bay means to them." The suggestions flowed like water, with Sarah riding the wave of momentum. She could envision the faces of her neighbors, each one a testament to the community they had built. She felt the urgency growing, the need to showcase not just their fears, but their love for their town. "Let us divide up. We need everyone on board. Timmy, can you help with the video?" "Can I?" Timmy's eyes sparkled. He loved being part of the action. "Absolutely." A mix of excitement and uncertainty enveloped the room. They were no longer just residents worrying about losing their homes. They were fighters, determined to reclaim their lives, their stories. "Let us also plan a rally," Sarah added. "Get people from other towns to join us and show we're serious. I want everyone to see this isn't just about Cedar Bay, it's a fight for every small town threatened by development." The energy shifted to the next level. Encouraged by her words, Eric started gathering names for volunteers. People began to break off, joining their passions to the cause. All around, chairs scraped against the floor as folks took initiative, and Sarah felt her heart pound in rhythm with the hope growing around her. Just then, a loud clap of thunder made everyone jump. The storm outside intensified, shaking the walls of the community center, as if nature itself was reacting to their rallying cries. "Stay focused," Sarah shouted over the cacophony. "This storm won't last forever. Just like this moment, we have to use it to push for what we believe in." But even as she spoke, another doubt gnawed at her. What if they were too late? What if everything collapsed before they even got a chance to fight back? Her chest tightened at the thought. I want everyone to write down their stories, she said, her voice steadying. Let us not just shout. Let us share. Let us tell everyone what Cedar Bay means to us. Everyone deserves to be heard. As pen met paper, there was an electricity in the air, raw, unfiltered emotion. Sarah moved from table to table, collecting their narratives. The room echoed with laughter and tears, weighted by stories of love, loss, and dreams cracked open like old shells washed ashore. While everyone focused on their writing, Sarah's thoughts swirled. How were they going to take these vulnerable pieces and transform them into a movement powerful enough to confront the council? She glanced at Timmy, now sitting on the floor surrounded by crayons, fervently coloring pictures of Cedar Bay. His innocence was a balm on her worries. In his eyes, hope shimmered brighter than any doubt she harbored. Will we really do it, Mama? He asked again, glancing up. Her heart swelled. We will. We have to. For you, for everyone. But what if that wasn't enough? The nagging thought followed her, as she embraced the swelling sense of unity in the room. As the community's voices rose, Sarah felt a new resolve form inside. They might bend, but they wouldn't break. They were taking the first steps toward change, making a mark that couldn't be erased. A loud crash of thunder interrupted her thoughts, shaking her from her reverie. Was it the storm? Or something more? With uncertainty looming like the dark clouds overhead, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that the real challenge was yet to come. Would they unite enough to stand strong against City Hall? As the wind howled outside, she steeled herself for whatever lay ahead. And deep down, she wondered, would they discover the courage it took to fight for hope, or would they succumb to fear? The room buzzed with the energy of shared dreams and unspoken fears. Sarah moved through the crowd, collecting the handwritten stories, absorbing the essence of Cedar Bay through their voices. Each piece felt like a thread, weaving them into a tapestry of resilience. She glanced at the faces around her, determination mixed with exhaustion, hope dancing with trepidation. Timmy had switched from coloring to building a tower of wooden blocks, stacking them one upon another, completely absorbed. Watching him, a flicker of optimism ignited within her. If they could create something beautiful, maybe they could too. Okay, everyone. Sarah clapped her hands, the sharp sound cutting through the murmurs. Let us put these stories to music. Eric, any ideas? We can reach out to our local musicians, Eric suggested, excitement evident in his voice. Get a few to donate their time. We could turn our words into a song that tells the Cedar Bay story. Lively chatter erupted again, igniting a new wave of enthusiasm. Yes. A song would touch hearts. Someone shouted from the back. Let us do it. Sarah's spirit surged. This was more than a rally now. It was a symphony of voices, each note resonating with the spirit of their town. She pictured musicians gathered under the warm glow of porch lights, harmonizing the essence of Cedar Bay, their hearts beating as one. But just as the hope bubbled to the surface, the storm outside seemed to mirror her rising anxiety. The gusts of wind howled like restless spirits, summoning dark thoughts. What if the council ignored them? What if their voices were drowned out by greed? Focus! She thought, shaking off the doubts. This was their moment, their chance to fight back. Okay, she called out, rallying the room again. Let us split into groups. We can work on the video, the song, and the rally planning. We all have something to bring to this. With each person contributing, we grow stronger. As they broke off into clusters, Sarah found herself alongside Eric and a few others brainstorming lyrics for the song. They tossed ideas back and forth, their laughter stitching together snippets of hope, but each line also came with the heaviness of what was at stake. I want a line that talks about belonging, Eric suggested, his brow furrowed with concentration. How about in Cedar Bay, we found our home, a place where our hearts feel free to roam? Sarah offered, surprised at the simplicity yet effectiveness of the words. Love it! Eric beamed, jotting it down quickly. The room began filling as new faces showed up, drawn in by the noise. A couple of more kids joined Timmy on the floor. The vibrancy of youthful laughter added a much-needed lightness amid the storm's wrath that rattled the windows. Yet, in her heart, Sarah could still feel the heavy air. The shadows of doubt lingered, whispering what-ifs as she looked out at the stormy evening. Was this really possible? Could they enchant their town, stir their souls, and make the council listen? "Let us take a quick break," she announced, wanting to address the swirling thoughts in her mind. "Grab water, stretch. We're going to need our energy for the big push ahead." As the room emptied, Eric leaned closer, lowering his voice. "Do you think it'll work, Sarah? The rally and everything?" She hesitated. "Would it? Could they turn this whirlwind of emotions into a powerful movement?" "I want to believe it," she replied, her voice barely above a whisper. "But what if the storm outside isn't just weather? What if there's something else brewing beneath the surface of Cedar Bay?" Timmy rushed back, pulling her thoughts back into focus. "Mama! Can we build more towers?" His innocent enthusiasm tugged at her heart. "Yes, let us build something that can't be knocked down," she said, a motivational spark igniting again. As they resumed their tasks, engaged in the collective mission, the wind wailed outside, but for the first time that evening, it felt like a battle cry. Would the storm reveal the truth beneath their feet? Would it test their resolve, or would they find strength amid the cyclone? The night was just beginning. They were ready to face whatever lay ahead. But within the shadows, doubt simmered. What truths would come crashing down, and would Cedar Bay withstand the storm? The wind howled outside, rattling the windows of the community center, as Sarah gathered her thoughts. She looked at the faces in the room, illuminated by the soft glow of flickering lights. There was a palpable energy, a sense of purpose, but also an undercurrent of fear. Each story they shared held pieces of their lives, and she felt a weight resting on her shoulders. This was not just a rally, it was personal. Timmy busily stacked blocks, oblivious to the swirling storm outside. His laughter was a thread of joy in the tense atmosphere. Sarah couldn't help but smile as she watched him, the little architect lost in his own world. It reminded her of the simple things, the little victories that made the struggle worthwhile. "All right, team," she called out, using the energy of the moment to dispel her own doubts. "Let us bring those stories to life. We need to make a plan. Who wants to lead the music group?" Hands shot up, and she felt a surge of hope. Perhaps this gathering was what they all needed, a chance to unite, to create something beautiful amidst chaos. Maybe they could make a sound strong enough to be heard far beyond Cedar Bay. "Awesome! Music it is!" Eric chimed, pulling the group's attention back. "I'll coordinate with some musicians I know. We can have them help with the lyrics and arrangement." As excitement filled the air, Sarah grabbed a notebook and began jotting down ideas. "What if we wrote about the beauty of our home? How it's more than just a place, it's intertwined with our dreams." Nods of agreement surrounded her. "Yes. And let us overtake this storm with our voices," someone shouted, igniting laughter. With each passing moment, the storm outside whipped more ferociously, but within the walls, warmth bloomed. The sound of shuffling feet combined with laughter and chatter filled the space, drowning out her earlier apprehensions for a while. As the group divided into sections, Sarah gravitated toward the artistic crowd who were sketching ideas for the rally's promotional materials. With vibrant pastel colors and laughter, the kids swarmed around her, eager to contribute their mark. "Let us make banners!" Timmy exclaimed, his eyes twinkling with enthusiasm. "Big, bright ones!" "Yes. We need to make them loud and proud," Sarah encouraged, feeling her energy reflect off of those around her. The bright colors and youthful laughter amplified the room's spirit. But just as things began to feel hopeful, a loud crash made everyone freeze. The gathered crowd turned toward the window, where the heavy branches of an old tree had snapped, swinging violently in the storm. Murmurs of concern rippled through the group, and in that moment of uncertainty, Sarah's heart thudded in her chest. "Is everyone all right?" she asked, raising her voice above the growing wind. "Just a tree, I think," Eric replied, scanning the crowd. "But maybe we should check the outside." Before anyone could respond, A puttering sound filled the air, and then it came a flash of lightning illuminated the room, revealing a familiar figure standing amidst the doorway. Only it wasn't just any figure. It was Mr. Jenkins, the council member known for his opposition to community efforts. Whispers filled the room. What did he want? Could he be here to silence their voices? A wave of tension swept through Sarah, clashing with the hope that had just started to bloom. Sarah, he called, his voice steady but heavy with judgment. I need a word. Every eye shifted toward her. Her heart raced as she took a step forward, unsure of what she might be asked. It would either crush their dreams or unleash an unexpected truth. As she walked to meet him, the room went silent, anticipation hanging thick in the air. What would he say? What stood at the brink of revelation? Mr. Jenkins, Sarah began, her voice steady as her mind raced. What do you want to talk about? But just then, the wind roared louder, as if it sensed the weight of the moment. Would Mr. Jenkins help turn the tide, or would he bring more storm clouds into Cedar Bay's already turbulent future? A moment stretched into eternity, the tension in the air palpable as Mr. Jenkins looked at Sarah, his face a mix of stern resolve and something softer, something unguarded. I've been hearing things, he began slowly, each word deliberate. Things about your rally. About what you're trying to do here in Cedar Bay. The group shifted uneasily, exchanging glances, curiosity mingled with trepidation. Sarah's heart pounded, unsure if she should take a step closer or retreat. She cleared her throat, determined to meet whatever storm was coming head-on. And? She prompted. What have you heard? He sighed deeply, the weight of years seeming to settle on his shoulders. I've seen the changes over the years, Sarah. People come together for causes they believe in, but they tend to lose sight of why they started in the first place. I worry that you might face the same fate. His words struck her like icy rain. Mr. Jenkins, we're here because we believe in this community. We believe in hope. In finding our voices together. He nodded slowly, an unexpected flicker of respect in his eyes. But what happens when the voices clash? When disagreement turns into division? The group erupted in a murmur, the uncertainty heavy as nails. Could he really be here to warn them instead of derail them? Sarah felt her heart racing, caught between inspiration and doubt. Is that what you're afraid of? That our rally won to unite us? She asked, trying to gauge his intentions. What I fear, he replied, casting a glance toward the window where the storm battered the glass, is that you'll let the frustration swallow you whole. That the fight will take you from the beauty you're trying to build. Timmy's laughter was a distant echo, reminding Sarah of the light they were fighting for. With a deep breath, she stepped closer. We're not going to let anger or fear win, Mr. Jenkins. We're going to celebrate what makes us strong. We want Cedar Bay to thrive. Her voice rang with conviction, fueled by the creativity of those around her. It was their shared dreams dancing in the flickering lights, not just her own resolve. But something shifted in Mr. Jenkins's expression. You sound so sure, but I hope you're ready for the backlash. He paused, his gaze piercing. I can help you, Sarah, but you might not like what comes next. Every face in the community center turned to Sarah, the weight of the moment shifting back to her. What do you mean? She asked, growing frantic. What are you saying? There are others, he said softly, almost hesitantly. People who don't want this rally to happen. People ready to push back hard. The realization hit like a tidal wave. This was more than a simple gathering. It was the beginning of a battle. Do you want our help? He asked, sincerity cloaked in the shadow of doubt. It felt almost like a lifeline. She opened her mouth, but the words clashed in her throat. Could she trust him? Before she could answer, another loud crack of thunder rumbled outside, and the lights flickered once more. Timmy, sensing the rising tension, clutched her leg, his small frame seeking comfort. As silence enveloped the room, Sarah knew she had to decide. Would she welcome Mr. Jenkins's contribution despite the history of resistance? Or would she brace for an uphill fight without his guidance? Mr. Jenkins, Sarah started heavily, looking at the faces of her friends. Their hope hinged on her next words. Let me think about it. We need to be ready for anything. Above the howling wind, they all heard it, a faint crack in the door, and a shadow fell behind Jenkins. A comrade or perhaps another threat? What would this new uncertainty bring to Cedar Bay? Suddenly, they were standing on the threshold of something greater than an event. They were about to embark on a mission that could shape their community's fate, but at what cost? As she weighed her options, the wind whipped wildly outside. In that moment of indecision, Sarah realized something monumental was about to happen, something that could either unify or tear them apart completely. "Are you ready to weather the storm?" she muttered to herself, knowing full well the answer might change everything. Timmy's grip tightened around Sarah's leg as the crack in the door widened, revealing a figure silhouetted against the storm's fury. She felt a rush of adrenaline, the mixture of fear and curiosity spurring her into action. The room held its breath, eyes darting toward the shapeless form swelling at the entrance. "Who's there?" Mr. Jenkins barked, his usual placid demeanor giving way to authority. The silhouette stepped forward, and the dim light caught strands of soaked hair, dark clothes clinging to a familiar shape. "Anna," Sarah gasped. The surprise cut through the tension like lightning, and she stepped forward, a wave of relief washing over her. "What's going on?" Anna panted, her breath shone in soft clouds of damp air. "I just heard." She paused, her wide eyes scanning the crowd. "I saw some of the opposing group gathering near the town square. They're planning something big." The murmurs surged again, panic creeping into the hearts of those present. Sarah looked at Mr. Jenkins, who seemed deep in thought. "We need to be ready for what's coming," he said finally, flowing back into the role of strategist, the storm outside mirrored in the storm within. "If we're going to stand firm in Cedar Bay, we need a plan." Sarah could hear the echoes of doubt return, settled into the fabric of the room. But she had to rise above it. "We've fought to get this far. We won't let fear dictate our actions," she declared, rallying the energy in the space. "We have to show them what we stand for together." The faces surrounding her shifted from worry to determination. They clenched their fists, glances filled with a newfound resolve. Still, beneath the surface simmers doubt as one member, a soft-spoken woman with trembling hands, raised her voice. "But what if they come for us? What if we lose everything?" Sarah felt the weight of her words hanging in the air. The idea of losing even a fragment of their progress terrified her. "We stand a better chance united. We'll prepare for the rally, but we'll also protect each other. Everyone's voice matters." "Sarah, you're asking us to trust you with our safety," Jenkins said, his eyes piercing through her resolve. "Do you truly believe what you're saying, or is it just a rallying cry?" The room fell silent again, all eyes locked onto her. The flickering lights cast shadows on their faces, each face told a story of struggle and hope. She took a deep, shaky breath. "I believe in Cedar Bay. I believe in the people here. And if we stand together, we can change the narrative." Her words, powerful and raw, took hold of the room like roots spreading through soil. Anna broke through the stillness, her voice resolute. "Then let us get to work. We need communication, strategies, and we need numbers. We have to outsmart them before they try to outmuscle us." Heads nodded, and enthusiasm sparked a new light in their eyes, igniting the lingering embers of resistance. Sarah shot a grateful glance at Anna, the spark of solidarity igniting further ideas among them. "Let us gather everyone we know, share what we've learned, and we'll come up with a solid game plan. Tonight, we prepare." Sarah's voice erupted with renewed energy, her heart racing with possibilities. As they rallied together, a sudden crash of thunder reverberated through the walls, shaking them from their thoughts. The wind rattled the windows, urging them all to move faster, to prepare for the fight ahead. But as they organized, Sarah couldn't shake the feeling that the real storm was only just beginning. She turned to Mr. Jenkins, who watched them with a look she couldn't completely decipher. "What do we do if they come for us?" His brows knitted tightly, and he answered, "We stand our ground. We protect our own, no matter the cost." How prepared were they, really? The clock was ticking, and uncertainty loomed just beyond the doors. Sarah knew that whatever awaited them was more than just an external storm. It might be a battle of hearts and minds. What sacrifices would they face, and would they be enough to hold Cedar Bay together? Just then, a loud bang echoed from beyond the community center, an urgent call that sent a chill spiraling through the crowd. Could it be the surge of opposition they feared? The storm was upon them, and she could feel the gusts of change rising around her. "Get ready," she whispered, her heart pounding in unison with the thunder. "This isn't over just yet." The noise outside grew sharper, fragments of voices cutting through the howling wind. Sarah's heart raced as she exchanged glances with Anna and Timmy. The fear in the air was thick, almost palpable, yet it mingled with a sense of necessity that fueled her determination. "Get the supplies," Sarah urged, glancing over at Jenkins, who stood close, his brow furrowed in concentration. "Water, lanterns, anything we have. We can't let them catch us unprepared." As people sprang into action, gathering supplies and whispering plans, Sarah felt a pull of dread deep within her. It wasn't just the looming threat of the opposing group that unnerved her. There was something about the way the storm outside mirrored the turmoil in her heart. "Why now?" Anna asked, her voice barely audible over the pounding rain. "Why are they coming now?" "Maybe they think we're too weakened to fight back," Sarah replied, forcing her voice to be steady. "But they're mistaken. We've come too far to back down now." With a collective breath, the group began to organize. Each person had a role. Timmy, despite his small stature, was sent to help with lanterns, his eyes bright with a mixture of fear and excitement. Sarah felt a wave of protectiveness wash over her. She wasn't just fighting for Cedar Bay. She was fighting for Timmy's future, for the hope that all of this was worth something. They moved quickly, stacking supplies near the door as another crash of thunder rattled the windows. The oppressive storm seemed to press against them, as if the very weather were conspiring with their enemies. Every crack of lightning felt like a countdown to chaos. As Anna and Sarah worked side by side, discussing strategies, a wandering thought crossed Sarah's mind. "What if it's not just about being ready?" she whispered, caught up in her own epiphany. "What if we don't just need to prepare for a fight, but for what comes after?" Anna nodded slowly. "You mean what if we have to rebuild? What if this is just the beginning?" Sarah's revelation hung between them, weighty and profound. She sensed the magnitude of their struggle wasn't just to fend off an attacking force. It was to champion a new way of life, one that meant standing up for the community they had forged against all odds. The door shuddered violently as another fierce gust of wind shoved against it, stealing a moment of their focus. Every person in the room froze, holding their breath, fear coursing through them like electricity. "They're here," someone murmured from the back. Sarah felt her body tense, adrenaline surging through her veins. "Everyone, stay calm," she called out, her voice rising above the storm. "This isn't over. We prepare, then we will face them together." Timmy moved closer, his small body trembling. Sarah knelt and embraced him, whispering promises of safety into his ear. It cut through her anxiety, reminding her of what they were fighting for, the innocence and hope of the next generation. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed, and the door burst open. Wind and rain swept into the room, whipping around them like a ferocious beast. In the frame of the door stood shadowy figures, their silhouettes sharp against the raging storm. Sarah's heart pounded so fiercely that it felt like it might burst. The moment of truth was finally here, but more than fear rippled through her. It was a hard-won resolve. They had not come this far to falter now. "Stand strong," she shouted into the swirling chaos. "Together, we face this." And just as the first figure lunged forward, Sarah wondered, would they all find the courage to fight? Or would they be swallowed by the very storm they had attempted to confront? In that moment, she realized that their true battle was about to unfold, and nothing would ever be the same again. The air was electric with tension as the shadowy figures stepped into the community center, soaked from the storm outside, determination etched on their faces. Sarah stood her ground, heart racing. She locked eyes with Anna, and she knew they had a choice to make: confront the unknown or slip into fear. "Let us show them we are Cedar Bay," Sarah shouted, lifting her chin defiantly. The crowd pressed closer, ready to unite in the face of adversity. The leading figure, a tall woman with rain-soaked hair, stepped forward. Her eyes softened as they met Sarah's. We heard about your plans, she said, voice steady despite the chaos around them. We came to talk, not to fight. The words hung in the air, heavy with anticipation. Talk? Sarah echoed, incredulous. After all the threats? After what you've done to our town? We're not the enemy, the woman insisted, stepping fully into the light. We're just as concerned about Cedar Bay as you are. It's our home too. Whispers rippled through the crowd. Was it true? Could they be allies rather than adversaries? The woman introduced herself as Clara, a local businesswoman, and explained that the corporate interests threatening Cedar Bay had their roots in fear and misunderstanding. We don't want to displace families. We want to bring resources to our community, Clara said, her voice rising above the storm. But it's been difficult to convey that amidst the noise. We need to find common ground. Together. Sarah felt a cautious glimmer of hope. Together? But how do we trust you? Give us a chance, Clara replied, her expression earnest. Help us understand what needs to change. You know Cedar Bay. We need your voices. As the storm outside raged on, the room began to lighten. Sarah glanced around. She saw both skepticism and curiosity in the faces of her neighbors. What do you think? She asked, feeling the weight of possibilities swell. I think we owe it to ourselves to hear them out, a voice called from the crowd, a man Sarah recognized from the fish market. We've fought too hard for our home to let misunderstandings drive us apart. Slowly, hesitant agreement spread through the gathering. One by one, neighbors voiced their thoughts, sharing their anxieties and hopes, asking questions in a rhythm that felt almost like healing. Sarah's heart swelled as Clara listened, her resolve unwavering. Bit by bit, the community and the newcomers began to break down barriers. The storm transformed from a chaotic force of nature into a catalyst for connection. We can still host the rally, Sarah suggested, hopeful glimmers dancing in her eyes. But let it be a platform for dialogue, not division. We can invite everyone, share our stories, and maybe even hear yours. Clara smiled, and the warmth in her eyes spread like sunlight breaking through clouds. We'd like that. No more secrets. Just open conversations. As plans began to form, the mood shifted from apprehension to hopeful action. The storm outside raged on, but inside the community center, a different storm brewed, one of unity and strength. Timmy tugged at Sarah's shirt, his wide grin breaking through the tension. Are we going to save Cedar Bay, Mama? Yes, honey, she replied, her heart surging with renewed strength. We'll save it together. This was more than just a fight for space to live. This was about community, about connection and understanding, about transforming adversity into a beacon of hope. As the night wore on, laughter mingled with fear, conversations blended into agreements, and the shadows of doubt began to recede. Under the flickering lights, surrounded by the sound of unity, Sarah felt an unshakable belief in the future. Cedar Bay was more than buildings. It was hearts bound together through love, resilience, and the unyielding spirit of its people. Tomorrow, she declared, feeling the weight of her words spin into a bright anticipation, we start a new chapter. Together. A collective cheer rose, and the rain thundered on, but it no longer felt like an ominous threat. The storm was just part of the journey. It wasn't where they'd end, but where they'd begin anew. In the midst of it all, Sarah finally understood the truth. They could weather any storm as long as they stood together. Their stories intertwining would breathe life into Cedar Bay. Now more than ever, they needed to share their journey. So, if you're inspired by this transformation, you need to subscribe to the channel immediately. Don't hesitate, this is the moment to show your support. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and help others discover our story. Comment below with your feelings about this journey and your solidarity with Cedar Bay. And please share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this transformation. Don't wait not even one more second. True fans understand the importance of your support. The fight continues, but together, we can shine brighter than any storm.